So is the new Tom Ford Runway cream formula actually better, or did they just fix something that wasn't broken? Today we're diving into the newly reformulated Rose Topaz quad. This has been a staple for cool-toned eyeshadow lovers for a long time, but with the new Runway name and the redesigned compact, the stakes are pretty high for Tom Ford. So let's see if this $90 investment actually delivers like the old Tom Ford. Welcome back, everyone. Today we are diving into Tom Ford. I have a full face of Tom Ford on today, and I can tell you Tom Ford was one of my favorite designer makeup brands when they first came out. I loved their lipsticks. I loved their eyeshadows. I invested quite a bit of my money in the Tom Ford lipsticks that then went bad, but they were reformulated and now are fine. But I used to go on and on about Tom Ford. I would tell everyone back in the day to buy their liquid eyeliner and their eyeshadows and their lipsticks. Absolutely loved everything by Tom Ford. Then, of course, as things do, things changed. And for the last several years, I feel like Tom Ford has kind of lost their way. They have introduced a number of new products, things like the fabulous lipsticks, which I actually didn't buy. They have their slim lipsticks, which I have on today. I actually do love these. They're very expensive for what they are, but I do really love these. And they just came out with their matte ones that look just like this. They came out with new lip liners. Tom Ford himself was not a believer in lip liners. So Tom Ford technically never had lip liners. They had sculpting liners for lips. I actually have one. It's like one of my favorites. It's shaped like a triangle and it's brown. It's fabulous. But anyway, came out with lip liners that are now my favorite lip liners of all time. I've talked about them so much. You guys are like, I'm sure, sick of it, but they are fabulous. They are the best. Today I have on, I think it's A-List. Oh no, it's Love's Attention. I am so sorry. So I have on Love's Attention on my lips today. And in the beginning, I put it on with the Rose Gloss. This is one of my favorite. This was a limited edition. I still think they have the gloss. I don't know if they have the Rose Gloss, but Tom Ford glosses, they're a particular type of gloss. They're more glossy. Like they're runway-ish. They're not subtle and they're not thin. They are beautiful though. And I have a number of them. This one is just the rose oil and I love this product. I bought like 3 of them. This is my last one that I'm going through right now. But I love their glosses as well. I have many of their glosses. I have their glosses in my top drawer here. They're really good. But again, it's a particular type of look. They're sheer, they're not super pigmented, but they make your lips look like plumper. And it's like a more avant-garde, more runway type look. It's just not subtle. I don't know how to explain it because they're not super pigmented, but they definitely look like you have gloss on, like you're gonna notice. But I really like them. I think they're very comfortable and I think they look good. So Tom Ford has come out with things that were pretty decent. There was no real cohesion to anything. Like it was just like, and here's liners and here's new lipsticks. Came out with new lipsticks, which I think are actually extremely good and I really like them. But it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't exciting. And I think part of the reason is because there wasn't a cohesion with the eyeshadows. Like there wasn't a vision that everybody could understand. And originally when Tom Ford came out, you could see it very clearly. That may be true for his ready-to-wear and bags and stuff as well. So now this is the new Runway collection and the quads are under that Runway collection. So there is 2 different types. There's Poudre, which is traditional powder, and it's marked with a gold T logo like the old T logos on Tom Ford. I'm looking for the gold, but it's, you know, Tom Ford, the gold, Tom Ford like this, the Tom Ford gold logo. So you're gonna see the T. And then he has the Crème formula, which he has done Crème formula before, which is my new favorite formula from Tom Ford. That is cream to powder, which is marked with a brown T logo, which looks like this. And yes, I have fingerprints on it already. I will tell you that I really like the packaging. I think it looks really good. I like this little bar that comes down over the front like this. And you just pull it up. It's not hard, but it like comes over the lip, which I like. I like the way that this was done. This is the older one. It just had the gold on the edge. So I like this. I actually like the packaging. I think it looks good. And you can see very clearly that it's a cream formula versus the powder formula from just the packaging, which I like. I mean, I like being able to tell from packaging what type of formula it is. That's easier for me. So I like the fact that it's all underneath the umbrella. The other thing I like is, you know, the formulas that have come out the last several years, you were never sure what the formula was. Some of them did say cream on them and you're like, oh, that's cream formula. But other than that, you're like, is it the wet dry formula? I think it is because of the T and the F on the thing, but maybe it isn't. You were never quite sure. This, you're very clear on what it is. It's either the cream formula or the traditional powder formula. Great. They call it matte on some of the websites. Like I saw it in Nordstrom, it says matte. I don't think they mean matte. I think they really mean the traditional Tom Ford powder formula, because there is some that have different color stories that have shimmery shades in there, or what some of the, not glittery, but like toppers. So they're not all just, you know, matte in all the shades. I would say the old version versus the new version, when it comes to packaging, you have the classic logo, right? The classic Tom Ford Gold. It looks to be a little thicker, I think. I mean, not by much, but it's like the tiniest bit thicker, just a little bit. You have the matte brown tee on the front instead of this. So personally, I like it. I think they look good. Now, the pan design, the powders that are in here. You have the standard rounded square, a squoval almost. It's not even a squoval, but it's a little bit more rounded. Can you kind of see like the edges are a little bit more rounded? And then in the new one, they're flattened more. You know what I mean? Like these are squarer and they're more flattened. I'm trying to do it at an angle so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. It's a little bit different. It's not drastically different. These are more, the old ones are sort of a rectangle, like a rounded rectangle. And then the new one is squares. 4 shades that are listed as matte, shimmer, matte. So you have, it's telling you. I think it's pretty clear in these palettes, but still, I mean, that's always helpful. You know, you don't have to guess. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's pretty clear the shades are mattes. I'll have the shades go up. So the new one's 0.28 ounces and 12 months. And the old one is 0.31 ounces. And I believe that was 12 months as well. It's not actually on the palette, it's on the box, but I'm pretty sure it was 12 months. So you get a little less product, 3.03 ounces, and same shelf life. Old one's made in Italy. This is made in Italy. Yeah, that's the basic difference between the packaging and the products that's in there. The new one has more of a slip to it. When you swatch it, when you put it on your arm, you can't really see it because I did it this way so I could take pictures. So when you put it on your arm, it feels more buttery, more emollient. It has a higher slip to it. The other one is more of a cream, like a real cream to powder. It doesn't have the same slip, the old one. The old one is a very sheer to medium and it's very buildable. This one, the new one, has definitely an initial payoff that is more impressive, more pigmented, and deeper color saturation than the old one. The old one, when you look at it in the swatches, you'll see it's light, it's definitely lighter. When I look at the ingredients, I need to find an old box because this Rose Topaz, I didn't used to keep boxes for these things. So I don't have the box to this one to do Rose Topaz to Rose Topaz, but I'm gonna bet there's similarities between the products that are in here. I doubt it's so drastically different. I mean, eyeshadows have been made with similar ingredients for a long time, but the one thing I will definitely bet is this old one probably doesn't have synthetic fluorogoplite, and the new one does. Synthetic fluorogoplite is the stuff that replaced talc, and it has more of a shiny, shimmery kind of finish. Now, I'm not saying that the old one didn't have it. It might have. It's possible. But I wouldn't be surprised if it had talc in it or something like that. I'll have to go back and look. And if I can find it before I put the video up, I'll make sure it says on the screen. This has silica in it, mica, and a zillion other. I mean, there's literally so many ingredients in this thing for all the different shades. But the Florogopite, that I was just like, that's the second ingredient in here. There's also carmine in here, and I know some people have problems with carmine on their eyes, so I wanted to mention that. I'm gonna go through the good and the bad as you see them on my eyes. This is the old, this is the new. Rose Topaz. So Rose Topaz to Rose Topaz. Everything else on my face is Tom Ford. It'll be listed in the description box below or on the screen. So the good of the new product is that it really is kind of idiot proof. Now, I am not calling any of you idiots. I'm really kind of referring to myself here. As a makeup artist, it doesn't mean that you never make mistakes. All it means is that you've had more at-bats than other people. You've practiced more because you've done people's makeup. But there's always, trust me on this, there's always room for error. And depending on the product that you're working with, there's more room for error than some products and in others, which is why makeup artists have their favorite, products, and they use them because they know how they work. And one of the things that usually draws a makeup artist to a good product and uses it consistently is that it's idiot proof. Like, even if you do make a mistake, it's probably going to be fine. And if you put the wrong color in the wrong place, you can probably blend it. It'll be all right. That kind of thing. Or you use the wrong brush, or you don't have the brush, or whatever it is. So this is really an amazing blend. It does melt into the skin really well with no harsh edges. I gotta say, I am very impressed with how that melded. Like, it was pretty freaking smooth. It does seem to last longer than the original. Now, this isn't the old Tom formula. Okay, the old Tom Ford formula is long gone, and depending on whether it was the matte formulas or some of the other formulas, they did last a really, really long time. But compared to the ones of, like, let's say 5 years ago, 3 to 5 years ago, yes, this formula is definitely has more longevity. It didn't crease. I'm not doing any primer. I never do primer when I do a first take for you or self. This is not my first time using it, but you get my gist. Like, the first couple times I use it, I don't use primer. The shimmer in here, the sparkle shade in here, is much more multi-dimensional than the old one. The old one is much more of a topper. The old one looks more sparkly and wet. The new one looks like shimmer. You can see it on my eye. It's very clear. This is more of a wet, sparkly look, and this is more of an opaque shimmer look. I don't know if that's the Florogopite. I'm not sure. There's less fallout from this than this one. This one definitely has fallout. You can see it. Well, I don't know if you can see it, but I can see it under here from that topper shade. And then the emollient nature of this does look really good on a more mature, I gotta come up with a better word for that, older skin. I don't know why we're so afraid to say we're older. Like, what's wrong with that? It's fabulous being older. I love being older. I just don't give, insert bad word here, anymore about, like, any of that stuff. So yeah, getting older is fabulous. But yeah, it does. It looks better on an aged eye because it smooths. It's really pretty impressive. However, there's a couple things that I would say. If you like this watercolor sheerness of the old one, you're not gonna like the more opaqueness of the new one. This is much easier to just put on and be done, and as I said, it blends, but it is more pigmented to start with. So if you were one of the people that liked the very light, watery color nature of this, and you can build it, because you can build this, and I'll show you, then you won't like the fact that the new one is already there. It's already got its opaqueness and it's already got its color, and you can build it. I mean, I'm not saying you can't, you absolutely can, but you're not, that's not really, it's meant to just be put on and go because it just blends so perfectly and it's so easy that you don't need to. So as I build this, this is the topper shade. I do get fallout, you can see it right there. And I just dust it away. It's fine. It's not, it's not gonna bother me. I'll manage. But you can see how it's thicker and you have more of a a little bit more of an opaqueness. It's never truly opaque. It's more, it's like I said, it's more of that sheer topper. But then you can take the other color. So this is the topper color. And then this is the color that's in the inner corner of my eye. And I used it to kind of put on top on both sides. And you'll see I do that. And I did exactly the same placement with the new one. This one, this is already more opaque, as is this. And so I did the same thing, and you get more of the same look, but this one is still sheer and more ethereal, I guess would be the best way to describe it. So that sheer elegance is gone. It's $90. So it's one of the most expensive quads per gram on the market, because remember it's 0.28, so you're getting less product and it's $90. There are ones that are more expensive like Clé de Peau, but technically Clé de Peau is refillable. So you can buy the refills by themselves and it's, I'll make sure the right price, but I think it's like 70 or 65 or 75. So you're paying for the refillability. So technically it's not more expensive. It's one of the most expensive quads that you're gonna see. And I guess the next question is it worth the upgrade? Like, should you buy it? If you have a Rose Topaz, should you buy a new Rose Topaz? And what I would say is if you have the old one, I'd say no, you don't need the new one. They are similar enough that why would you do that at $90? Spend the $90 on the Chanel that's about to come out, or I don't know, the new Tom Ford blush, which I will do an entire video on. There's lots of things out there. There's tons of products. I mean, I'm not just limiting it to those two. Or just put it in savings. Buy some gas for your car, because it's now like $90. I have an SUV, so it's an old SUV, but still. So I would say, yes, the new one's better. Don't get me wrong, but it has better color payoff and it stays on longer. It has better longevity, but you have Rose Topaz. If you have this, don't spend $90 for packaging. And yes, better color payoff, and yes, more longevity. But again, you have basically the color story. And I think the old color story is stunning. I really do. I think it looks beautiful on. So no, I would say no. I would say the new packaging and the weight and the way it looks, I actually think it looks very modern and very high fashion. And I really enjoy, I think it looks really good. I like the packaging. Not everybody's gonna love it, but I like it. It has, you know, a luxury feel to it. It's still cool toned. It retains its ethereal taupe look. The brown in here has like a coolness to it that is a little bit more plummy. It almost has like a little bit of, it's not purple, but it has like a plum undertone, which is where you get the Rose Topaz. Like there's a coolness that has like if you've ever created paint, like if you've ever painted and you mix custom shades or you mix custom makeup for that matter, you'll know that like in a brown, you could have more of a gray undertone, more of a purple undertone, more of a red undertone. These have more of that rosy, like the plum undertones. They both do. The old one is a little bit cooler and darker. This one is more like a plum, but it's very nice. And so I think it's slightly easier to go from day to night to this new one because of that one's, it's a really nice tone and I think it looks really very pretty, and you could just use like 2 colors to get a very basic look. If you like that sparkly, wet, sheer elegance look, you definitely don't want the new one. Stay with the old one. The packaging about the matte brown versus the gold, I really like that. The boxes are gonna look identical, basically. You're not gonna really notice the difference. It's gonna say cream down here, and the other one will say poudre. But other than that, it's this that will look different. This matte brown here means it's the cream. I am gonna get the matte formula, and I'm gonna look at the shades that are new. So there are new shades, and let me tell you what they are. So the completely new names, I don't know if they're the same color, like they may be the same color stories as old ones, but they are new names, are Evening Attire, which is a poudre, which means it's powder formula. And according to what I've seen, this is being like the spiritual successor to Coco Mirage. And I believe that Michelle did an entire video on it. I haven't watched it yet. I try not to watch other people's videos before I review something, because no matter what we think, especially people you admire and you trust and you look to as you know, a mentor, if they say they love it, it's hard for you to come out and be like, well, I hated it. So I just tried to just get past that by not watching anyone else's reviews before I do mine. I'm gonna get the evening attire, but supposedly it's the new Coco Mirage. Olive Smoke. So supposedly that's a fresh color story. Again, this could be wrong. This is what I'm hearing. Ember Bronze, which is a cream. It's a new name for a rich, warm, metallic story. I don't know more than that. Iconic Smoke, it's a new name for a cool tone smoky neutral. And Peach Dawn, which is a Soleil Lumiere, which will be spring 2026. And it's the new name for the Lumiere sub-series. So basically you're gonna have Runway, Poudre, Crème, and then the sub-series, the Lumiere. And so that one is coming up soon. Heritage names, these are not new names, but they are reformulated. Insolent Rose, Rose Topaz, which I just did, Tiger Eye, Sous la Seb, a Metallic Mauve, Honeymoon, and those are the only ones that I know of that are the same names. Now, the Honeymoon was reimagined for the spring 2026 Soleil collection, so it's a different formula. I don't know, but that gives you an idea of what's supposedly new and what's reimagined and reformulated. My overall thoughts, like I said, if you have the old Rose Topaz, I don't think you need to run out and get the new Rose Topaz. It's expensive for what it is, and you have the color story for the most part. I do think it's a better formula overall for most people. For me, I am glad that I have both because I think they are actually different. I think the shimmers in here are very different. I think the old is a very watery, sparkly, use wet or use with a mixing medium. And I think the new one, when you use a mixing medium, it's going to be very shimmery and very intense. I think these old ones had more of that sheer elegance that I do love. Not everybody loves that. And so I'm glad to have both. But, you know, I have a channel where I talk about makeup all the time as one of the main categories of my channel. So I think for most people, you just don't need it. It's the same, it's basically the same color story. Yes, different outcome, a little bit of a different finish, but not so different that you can say to yourself, it's $90 well spent. I think if you are looking for new, idiot-proof, really beautiful, luxurious packaging, good formulas, you can use wet and dry, great color payoff and longevity, these are excellent. But I would buy them on sale because $90 is a lot to pay for eyeshadow. You know, especially like what I just said, it costs $90 to fill up your gas tank. So again, just my 2 cents. I always keep it real here, as you all know. But yes, I will have a video dedicated to the blushes, and I will show you the dual blushes that I have and then the really old blushes from Tom Ford. So thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I really do appreciate it. I hope to see you in another video really soon. Bye.